take a ride on board the flying magic monkey machine.
Sesharoo up. What are you drinking, bro?
White Claw.
White Claw?
Do you not have this by you?
I don't think so.
It's for men who want to get drunk without the calories of beer.
Oh man,
it's hard seltzer, and it's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. I'm gonna sound really uneducated here, but that's gonna happen a lot. What's a seltzer? Is it like a soda?
Oh, it's soda water.
Oh,
yeah. So it's
literally just the fizzy water.
Fizzy water, and this one's flavored with watermelon, and it has a little booze inside. So it's about the same amount of booze as a beer. And the good thing about it is you don't fill up on it very fast, so you can drink more.
Wow. Do you know what? I've always wanted to know what seltzer was, but never felt in a safe place to ask.
I'm glad to know that I am that safe place for you, Rob. That's amazing.
Well, look, I'm drinking Levissima water. Levissima.
Cheers, brother.
So, for those who unfortunately may not be familiar with your beautiful smiling face, this is Chef Brian Tsao, the shredding, unbelievably talented chef and musician from Los Becomes, the band, from many big famous restaurants, and now from your own establishment.
Indeed. What an intro. We're diving right into it, huh? This is awesome. Hell yeah.
Listen, man, you scarred me for life. I'm going to tell them the little story about how I met you, and then what I'd love is for you to just kind of introduce yourself, talk about how you got into what you do, why, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I was on tour in America with Rabia, and we were doing clinic tours. I think it was for Guitar Center. Yes. Really, really good fun. And we came to New York, and then Rabia said, "Hey man, listen, Rob, I got this random chef who sent me a message on Instagram, and he's invited us to have a meal at his restaurant." And I was like, "What's the restaurant called?" Because I am a foodie. Food is close to religion for me. And he said, "It's a place called Beauty in Essex." And I was like, "No." The place, and it's like speakeasy vibe, secret entrance almost. You wouldn't know it's a restaurant until you get in. And it was like a scene out of Bugsy Malone. Anyway, we went to this restaurant. I had no idea what kind of food to expect. I have all sorts of food problems other than the fact that I eat too much of it. I'm dairy intolerant. I'm gluten intolerant. I'm a problem for a chef. And Brian came out, have a lot of alcohol. So we were halfway there before we even ate. And of all the dishes that you made, there was one that was a simple chicken and vegetables. That goddamn chicken was a biological sensation conduit. It was a gastronomical machine. And I will never forget the tenderness and the taste. And it was incredible. And then I got even more drunk, and I don't remember what else we had to eat. But that chicken destroyed me, man. That's my story about Chef Brian Tsao.
What an intro. Yeah, thanks for having me, Rob. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef. I have a restaurant or sandwich shop in Williamsburg, Brooklyn called Mission Sandwich Social. Oh, that's my alarm to do this podcast with you. I have a sandwich shop in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I also have a YouTube channel called Chef Brian Tsao, where I react to good and bad cooking videos. You'll see some of my own cooking videos on there as well. And I'm the guitar player of a little band here in New York called Los Becomes.
Now, is your YouTube channel called Pro Chef Reacts?
It's called Chef Brian Tsao, and the show is called Pro Chef Reacts.
Oh, okay. Just checking that we didn't get the viewers confused, because I've seen quite a lot of your stuff. I love it's endless content hack is what it is, golden goose type stuff, because you can react to Uncle Roger, The
Yep.
Village. I love the Village stuff, man. It's so much fun.
It's been a blast reacting to Village Cooking Channel, and also being that Indian food is so outside of my wheelhouse. I learn something every single time, so it's a lot of fun between that and Chef Ranveer Brar.
So we definitely have to talk about Indian food because I recently went to India for the first time. Turns out I have some Indian roots, which is another story.
Oh wow! Oh wait,
yeah, that was a surprise. But what I want to know about is Los Becomes, guitar playing, and the chef thing, and you're a parent.
Yeah.
This is a running theme with, I think, a lot of these chats with friends I'm going to be having. How do you, I mean, being a chef, man, I mean, I've watched the movie Chef. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
That's my kind of my benchmark, you know. How are you balancing work life, having a kid, being in a band, being a chef, all that kind of stuff?
Well, truthfully, and people get disappointed by this answer, I don't have a balance. I don't. It's that simple. I try my best to make time for everything, and I do, but inevitably one thing will take priority over the other for an X amount of time, right? So, for example, Lost Becomes put out a record this year, so we're playing a lot more than we usually do. And once that calms down, then, you know, I won't be as busy with the band. We'll go into, actually, the next record is pretty much already written. We're a very proactive band. But, you know, I would say at the end of this year, that won't take up as much time. So then I can focus more on trying new concepts on my YouTube channel. But I truly believe, and I kind of preach, that if you really want to do a lot of things, then you have to sacrifice. You have to make sacrifices, and it's that simple. It's not the answer people want to hear, but that's the only way I know how to go about it and do it.
Yeah, I think we're similar in as far as you are very definitely a person that follows that spirit, that energy, and things that they're enthusiastic about, because you are so passionate about food, so passionate about guitar playing and music. And I can tell from having seen your girl, you know, what a great dad you are. I mean, you have a lot of energy for all this stuff. Yeah. So are you doing anything to keep yourself energetically balanced mentally and physically?
There's two parts to this answer. Number one is I'm naturally that way. When I really get into something, maybe I have something undiagnosed, but whatever it is kind of irrelevant. I've always been the type of person, if I get into something, I go full on, and I can't help myself. So in the moment, I don't notice that I'm full on, if that makes sense. You just can't help yourself. That's my energy. I can't stop myself. And I also can't stop myself from putting 110% into it to the best of my ability. Right.
Yeah.
When it comes, but there's another part to this equation is, especially as of late, particularly these last 2 years, I've really been much better about my health in general. So I remember it like yesterday, December 23rd of 2023. I just was not feeling good about my body. I wasn't feeling healthy. I was kind of in a depression. You know, I felt like I didn't have the energy to do more. So I just started going to the gym. As soon as Christmas was over, I went to a gym, signed up, and just showed up. I go anywhere between 4 to 5 days, and I haven't stopped since December 23rd, 2023.
Yeah.
And I also had a big mind shift in that it's also not, I used to ego lift a lot. It's no longer about ego lifting. It's just about getting my body in motion, making sure that I build up a sweat. Yes, I'll push myself a little harder than last time. Shout out to Greg Doucette, one of my favorite YouTube channels right now. But I just make sure I show up. And this is the first time in my entire life where I didn't injure myself and was thrown out, wasn't able to go to the gym for like a month because I threw my back out or something like that. So just consistency, showing up and putting it in, doing that 1 hour, 4 to 5 times a week has really changed everything for me. And that is one thing that gives me more energy to do all the things that I want to do.
It's that Goggins mindset of don't listen to the excuses and the bullshit that your brain just chats away to you. And quite honestly, Brian, I feel like I'm entering that phase of my life too. I mean, we've talked about martial arts and exercise before. I know I've been into Chinese martial arts ever since I was 8. And I still practice. I'm supposed to set up a class here. I haven't done it yet because I've had so much, being a dad, husband, guitar player. I'm a chef in my kitchen, not a good one, but I made a really good spaghetti bolognese.
I want to try your cooking. Hey, I don't care what you think. I want to try your cooking.
I am really good at about 3 or 4 things. I can cook an incredibly authentic and very good Indonesian chicken satay. With the limes and the brown sugar and all the crushed nuts and stuff, and brown off the chicken. And my mouth is going mad now. I can do a pretty legit lasagna, although I just use jars of bechamel. I'm sorry, I feel awful now for saying this, and the pasta's gluten free.
It's all good. It's all good, man. No, it's not bad. You only need 2 or 3 good dishes in my mind. Right now, I make only 1 dish I'm sorry, I cut you off. What's your 3rd dish, Rob?
Well, it would be a veggie fried rice. I do a really good fried rice, Cantonese style. I make sweet and sour sauce from scratch. I cook the rice early, let it go cold, a little bit drier, and I'm
very important.
Yeah. I sometimes I get exotic non-Chinese like galangal or big lemongrass fan. I sort of imbue the oil with a bit of something interesting, and then often make fantastic mistakes that are dangerous. Like I bought a hot pot. I like hogwa, proper Chinese hot pot. So I got a hot pot base, and I didn't translate the packaging and presumed it would be enough for 2 or 3, but it was like dangerous. 8. It was 8 worth, and I put the whole lot in. We were like, oh, this has got a lot of flavor. It was mad.
Yeah,
so I do almost everything I cook is Southeast Asian, because they don't use a lot of cow milk, cheese, cream. And they don't use a lot of gluten unless it's the noodles or a bee or something,
Yeah.
So, be the bread, not be the insect, in case someone's going, what's a bee? 2 or 3 dishes is more than many other people in the world can cook. So you're already doing very well, my friend. Really?
100%. You'd be shocked at how many people have very little or close to zero ability to cook for themselves. I think it's very unfortunate. I'm fortunate that I grew up with a mother who cooked at home every single day, so I was exposed to that. But there's a whole generation of people who grew up with parents who never cooked at home. It was always
can't imagine that, man.
I couldn't imagine that either. And that's part of the reason why I kept up with Pro Chef Reacts, aside from the views and stuff like that. But it's also an opportunity to educate and teach. And yes, I talk a lot of shit, but there's also a lot of truth behind that shit talking, right?
Yeah, it's true.
I think it's important to call out bullshit and take a moment to educate people where you can.
So, talking of this kind of type of thing, what do you think of Guga? What's your opinion on
Guga is a very good friend of mine. He was just in New York a few days ago, and I've said it on the channel numerous times. I think he's a wizard, whereas like I'm I'm a knight. This dude's a wizard, right? This guy is willing and it isn't bound by certain rules that would stop him from experimentation.
Yeah.
So he's kind of in a different league. He doesn't consider himself a chef. I've seen him bump into people on the street and say, "You're an amazing chef." He won't correct them for the sake of like not wanting to get into that conversation. But, you know, in person, behind the scenes, him and I, you know, have spoken many times. He doesn't consider himself a chef. He's a content creator, but he's a content creator that works with food. But getting back to Guga himself, I think he's amazing. I think he's great. And I'm not saying that just because he's a friend. Like, you know, he was just here in New York. He's coming back in September. I'm going to go to Miami to do some videos with him shortly after that. You know, name dropping, but he just genuinely loves what he does, and he's not bound by any rules. And, you know, I will never dry age fucking A5 Wagyu with beeswax. You know, my chef mind won't let me do that because I'm so concerned with food costs, but he doesn't have that limitation. I think the world needs people like that.
The Guga that got me into his channel was awful. It was the one where he aged, I don't think it was Wagyu, but some kind of steak in Pepper X.
Oh my God.
And then he and two of his friends attempted to consume this steak. And it had been sat in Pepper X for, I believe, like weeks. And then he shaved off the bit, but still it was absolutely destroying them. I mean, it was horrendous, you know.
I can't begin to imagine how spicy that is. The spiciest I've ever gone was Carolina Reaper. And that, I mean, knocked my socks off. I can't imagine what Pepper X is like.
I once made a
hot sauce.
Yeah, I once made a really enjoyable mistake. There's an Indian restaurant, circling back to Indian food, and for the guitar players here going, "Where's all the guitar chat?" No, this is what it is, man. Yeah. There was there probably still is, an amazing Indian restaurant in Brighton called Planet India, and it was a vegetarian Indian restaurant, and it was run by just an Indian family, and they cooked the food that their grandmother had cooked for them. So it was a family Indian restaurant. They weren't making British Indian food, which I love. It's a bit like Chinese American food. You know, I have a problem with a lot of that.
It has its place. It has its place, man. I have a whole opinion on that, but please
we'll talk about that some. But there's a I mean, look, I love a plate of pretend food that never happened in China. I've been to China. I know that none of it's there, but you know, it has a place in my heart and stomach. But it's not what I'm about. Anyway, Planet India. I went there and I said, you know, how hot is your madras? You know, madras is a very standard Indian dish in England. And they said, we don't know because that's a place, not a dish. And I was like, oh, I feel like such an idiot now. I'm really sorry. And they said, no, it's fine. It's fine. You know, we don't do a madras. We have this particular meal or this one. And I was like, which one's the curry? And they went, well, actually, that word comes from the dish that you cook it in. It's not even the. And I'm like, oh my God, I know nothing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, imagine that you know, I'm me and I'm used to madras type heat. What would you recommend? And they said, well, probably this one. And it was grandmother's black bean veggie dish. And they said, it's just black beans, chilies, ginger, garlic, salt, coriander, cumin. That's it. I was
simplicity is elegance.
I was like, that sounds good. You know, and the little crispy bombs with the liquid inside. Now, what are they called? Those little crispy things? You know, the crispy Indian things with the liquid, and you put them in your mouth and they go pani puri. Thank you.
Oh, pani puri. Yeah.
My food addicted wife in the corner. So pani puri to start, and I just didn't have as much of a beard, so it wasn't a big issue. And then this dish comes out, and I'm like taking a big spoonful, and it is the fucking hottest thing I've ever put in my mouth. And I can eat spice. I've been to Indonesia. I've been to quite a few Asian places, and this was destroying me. I could hear my ears.
Yeah.
I could
filling up with blood.
Oh my God. And I was like just clawing at drinks, begging for anything and it just would. They were like, do you want some more rice to cut? Do you want to cut it? I'm like, it's not going to do the job, mate.
Yeah.
You have to cut my tongue off.
Yeah.
It was a big mistake. I think they were like, we'll show this guy what it's about,
There's certain levels of spice where it doesn't make sense anymore, in my opinion. There's a novelty to it. There's fun. I like my spice, but in fact, I work together with Heatonist, who provide the hot sauces for.
Do you?
Yeah, we carry 3 of their sauces.
That's so cool.
At my restaurant, and I've collaborated with them numerous times. And for me, a spice should add to the dish. Now, if the dish is to knock your socks off, then okay, sure. But I like to utilize spice in a way that, or peppers in a way that it'll add to the dish.
Yeah.
There's a flavor component. A scorpion pepper is going to be different from a Scotch bonnet to a jalapeno to a Thai bird chili. They're all different. Some people can't handle spice, so they just taste the capsaicin, the actual spice component of a pepper. But the way I explain chilies and peppers to people who are trying to understand beyond the spice level is wine. When you get into wines, first, everything just tastes like wine, right? But as you get into it, then you start to pick up notes of green apple for a white wine, or, burnt oak for a red wine, and your palate soon expands. It's actually the same exact way with chili peppers. It's quite diverse and
right. Know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really strange food where I live here in Malta. It's such a sort of diverse melting pot of anybody that came here and invaded and remained, so it's a lot of Arabic food mixed with Italian food with sort of, some English bits and stuff. It's really weird. They'll have.
It's fascinating. I actually didn't know anything about Maltese cuisine until I met you, until you told me the little bit about it that I do know. And it's very fascinating.
Yeah, there's the classic like fish soup and there's bracioli, meat wrapped in meat, and then they do things like this. I cannot wrap my head around this. Something called timpano, which is pasta baked in the oven, but it's covered in pastry. So, why not carb?
Hey, why not? Hey, there's
treble carb it. Serve it with chips or something. That's what they do in England.
I have a sandwich with French fries in it, or what you guys call chips. So
right.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Brian.
Yeah.
Why? I'm just interested. Why a sandwich shop?
Oh, there are many reasons. Number one, first and foremost, I've always loved sandwiches. I have some of my best food memories have to do with sandwiches. So, consider the context. I don't know if you could tell looking at me, but I'm Asian. So, so growing up, I ate Asian food. My mom's Korean, my father's Chinese. So we had one or the other 99% of the time. And on the odd occasion, we'd get fast food. On the odd occasion, we'd go to a steakhouse, but that was it. And my only exposure to Western food was at school or when I would go with my father to work on Saturdays, and he would get for lunch one of 3 things: either Chinese takeout, pizza, or sandwiches. And the sandwiches by far were the most memorable. They were saucy and stacked with meat and cheese and, that thin shredded lettuce and the tomato. And as you would eat it, the fucking mayo would start dripping down your arm. I just have all these amazing memories of eating these sandwiches. And fast forward, I'm, into my chef career. COVID happens. I'm no longer employed by my employer. I'm kind of looking for a gig. And I hit up a friend of mine, and he asks me, I ask him like, hey, are you looking for a chef? He was looking for a private chef, and he, we were buddies, so he felt kind of weird having me work for him, so to speak. He's like, no, I'm not looking for a private chef. Wealthy individual, very good good guy, great guy. And he's like, no, I'm not looking for a private chef. Okay. All right. We hang up the phone, and literally 5 minutes later, he shoots me a text. Hey, I don't know if this is too beneath you, but would you want to open up a sandwich shop with me? And my reply was, would I? So I not only do I have these memories of sandwiches from my childhood, but I actually filmed, it wasn't a TV pilot, because it never came out, but I filmed this video. This was before YouTube was big, but we're trying to pitch a show about myself making sandwiches.
That's great.
Because what I love about sandwiches is it's easily understood, and you put anything between two slices of bread, it automatically becomes a sandwich.
Yeah.
For me, that was very liberating because, coming from an Asian background and working in restaurants that were mostly Asian cuisine, I'm classically Western trained. I have a French and Italian cooking background. So it gave me the ability to do whatever I wanted without any explanation, right? I can just give you this sandwich and, oh, it's a sandwich. Like, I don't have to think twice. But then I can go into the story. Oh, this is a Moroccan style lamb sandwich, or this is, this is a pernil sandwich, or whatever it is, or this is an Italian classic cold cut sandwich, whatever it is. But everyone understood a sandwich. And I went crazy during the pandemic, and we decided to move forward. I opened this sandwich shop, and it's been great, not only because, again, of everything I just told you, but sandwiches are mostly a lunch crowd. So I'm home in time for dinner.
That's such a great story of somebody that kind of wanted to feed that part of their childhood and was enabled to do it. And you have to just feel like that was always supposed to happen. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
It was never not going to happen. I've got to ask though, Chinese parent, Korean parent.
Mm-hmm. They both hate each other, just so you know. They hate each other with a passion. No,
I've been to both places. But which culinary, because Korean food is very like cucina povera. It's very, they were starving for years, really difficult times. And so they had to find ways of preserving the food and all the different kimchis and everything, and make things last a long time, lots of soups and stews. Chinese food is a massive cultural, diverse, ethnic kinds of food. China's obviously massive. Food in one part of China is nothing like food in another part of China. But which kind of food do you prefer, the Korean or the Chinese?
Well, if I had to choose, if you were going to ask me what's my last meal going to be, it's going to be Korean food. It just, man, I can have Korean food 7 days a week.
I agree with you. And do you know why? I think it's because limitations force creativity. Just like in music. If I'm very lucky with my writing and it just flows and I don't have to think about it much. But if I ever come across there's a bit that I need and I can't quite find that part that flows naturally, I'll force a limitation. So I'll remove two strings, I'll tune one differently, I'll limit the number of notes I can use, and the more limitations I'm forced into, the more I have to find a creative solution. And I feel that good Korea, found that through the limitations of all the problems they had, that the food just got, repressed places make great food. That's what it is.
I mean, come on, like with Korean food, there's so much flavor, and I guess you can say that about any cuisine, but as you were mentioning, there's a big culture of fermentation, but it's like meat and pickles. I mean, if you're really gonna boil it down, it's meat and pickles, and how can you go freaking wrong with that? Meat, pickles, and vegetables. Like,
it's interesting though, because all the fermentation doesn't just make it taste better, but it adds in all this stuff that you need. It's like they were finding a way around the scarcity to make the food more nutritious, but as a result, it made it more delicious.
Whether it was a happy accident or intentional, I'm going to lean towards it was a happy accident. They were just like, oh, I'm eating this today and I'm not dying tomorrow. Whatever the case was, man, there's a simplicity to Korean food that I think, I don't know, just kind of strikes a chord with me. I love Chinese food as well, but it is far more diverse. And, if you ask me, do you want to have Chinese food? My question is going to be, well, what kind?
That's, I mean, I don't think, unless you're really into food, I think the average person thinks of Chinese food as probably fried rice, batter. They think of Korean, they think of Cantonese, American Chinese food. That's what they think of. They don't think of, the 50 different kinds of noodle variety, or the different soups, or the thousands of fish dishes cooked in alcohol, or it's just it's insane. In Korea, the two things that I just couldn't get on with and tried so hard were the cold noodles. What is that about? Cold noodles? I don't understand.
Amazing. It's amazing. I feel bad for you. You're missing out, man.
I tried. I really tried. And then the other thing was the soft shell crabs that weren't really that soft, and they were just crunching them, and it was just.
Was it the marinated raw crabs?
Yeah.
Oh, I love both. I love both, man, with a passion.
Right. You're
all day long, every day, no problem.
I tried, and they brought a whole table out. And put that down, and it was covered in little dishes. This is the particular restaurant I'm thinking of. It was an amazing experience, but it was very much like, listen, I'm open-minded and I like all sorts of food, but I can't.
I want to kind of explain further for anyone who's watching who's not familiar with either of these dishes that Rob's talking about. So let's talk about the cold noodles. It's typically buckwheat noodles, different type of noodle than your average wheat noodle. Like, an Italian pasta will be a wheat noodle. So there's a textural component. The noodles are served in a cold broth, which is usually vinegary, salty, and a little bit of sweet. They'll usually put slices of fresh Korean pear in there, some vegetables and stuff like that. And, different regions will make it differently. Some people put like a little bit of wasabi in there. Some people put a little bit of chili paste. But overall, it's like this vinegary, slightly sweet, cold noodle dish. It's ingrained in the fabric of Korean culture, but I could definitely understand why some people can't take to it, because it's not what you associate with a noodle dish, particularly in the West.
Well, for me, it was a little bit exacerbated because they knew I was gluten intolerant, so they'd specifically taken me to get the buckwheat noodles, because they're not gluten containing.
Right.
And it was super hot outside. They're like, "Oh, it's cold. It'll be good." I'm like, "I don't think it will." I just couldn't. I couldn't do it.
So was it a textural thing for you?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
There are some Asian dishes in particular that have a bit of a slimy thing, and I can't.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a gelatinous thing going on for sure. And then the raw marinated crab, that I can totally understand. That's not everyone's cup of tea, but man, you know what? I want to go with you to eat Korean food because I'm eating your cold fucking noodles and I'm going to eat your fucking marinated crabs.
You can have them, and I'll have all the bibimbap, all the American Army stew with the spam and stuff, and I love all that kind of stuff, man. No, I love it. I fell in love with sandwiches again. And by the way, you said anything in between bread is a sandwich. I have to pull you up there, man, because a burger is not a sandwich, and that's a thing between Americans refer to a hamburger as a sandwich. It's not. Not a sandwich. Yeah. Just so that we're clear.
It's a type of sandwich. But if you were in, I forgot the exact analogy. I had a huge debate with my business partner about this. It's like, if you were doing a sandwich competition and you gave someone a burger, they won't be mad, right? They won't be upset.
So what you've done there is you found a really interesting loophole in an emotional component, saying that I wouldn't mind having a burger in a sandwich, but it's not a fucking sandwich, man. It's a burger. It's different.
I'm sorry. I remember how we got into this topic. Is a hot dog a sandwich, right? So like, if you were doing a sandwich competition, you gave them a hamburger, they wouldn't be upset. But if you gave them a hot dog, you'd be pretty upset. It's like, this isn't a fucking sandwich.
You know what? I think I've just worked out what it is. I think what it is that the internal is hot, and and I think in England, and I'm struggling now because there are toasted sandwiches, but there's a clear distinction between a sandwich and a toasted sandwich.
Right.
But sandwiches are cold. You know, you could have chicken. For example, one of my favorite sandwiches ever is coronation chicken sandwich, created for the coronation. Effectively, you know, mayonnaise, mango chutney, curry powder, chopped up chicken in a sandwich.
Love it.
That was hot. I don't think it's a sandwich, but because it's cold, it's a sandwich. You know.
You know, we're going to have to agree to disagree. Half the sandwiches on my menu are actually hot. You know, different styles. Yeah.
I get that. I fell in love with sandwiches again because of the movie Chef. I have seen that movie.
Those are hot sandwiches, by the way. He was making paninis,
listen, I dug myself a hole there so deep, and I crossed the line and kept crossing. Yeah, but that movie, I love it to pieces. And it's not just the food, it's the father and son bonding, it's the acting, I mean, what a cast, you know. Yeah. And it got me, I remember the third time I watched it, it was Christmas time. And I went straight to the shop and bought a bunch of pork and some proper hot mustard. And I started making, you know, planchettes and just I cooked up a bunch of sandwiches for my in-laws and kept on cooking. Yeah. Couldn't help it, you know, had a couple of shots.
That movie is absolutely amazing. As far as like food movies go, I would say that and Ratatouille are top tier. You know, there have since been a few others, but those two, man, can't top those. Perfect.
What was that? There was a movie. I wish that I was Joe Rogan and I had someone that looked stuff up for me now. But I saw a movie several years ago about a restaurant where at the end of the meal, everyone would be killed or died.
Oh, yes. The Menu. That was a good one, too. That was a good one. That was a very good one, too.
It was good, but what the hell?
I mean, you know, just so everyone knows, like, that's not typical in kitchen culture. You know, you don't have dishes where one of your cooks go, spoiler alert, one of your cooks goes into the dining room floor and blows his brains out with it. No, that's not typical. But as far as the cult of personality that they're displaying to the most extreme extent, very, very common. Very, very common. You know, people like to have someone to latch onto. I mean, look at YouTube, you know, I mean, there are people who latch onto personalities because they see a little bit of themselves in there. It gives them something to strive towards. You know, for better or worse. You know, I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing, but as far as the cult of personality in kitchens go, yes, that is absolutely a thing.
Well, you're definitely, you know, one of those, to an extent, one of those people, because I mean, you have hundreds of thousands. I mean, I think you've got 400 million views. I don't know. You got a lot of views on your YouTube channel.
I have no idea. I don't. I'm actually, if that's true, then that's amazing.
Let's take a look right now.
Let's do it. Might be. So, putting me on the spot.
Ryan Tsao.
I'm gonna noodle with a guitar. I hope you don't mind.
I absolutely do not mind. So you've got 47 million views, my brother.
Wow. Holy shit. Yeah. Really?
47 million views on your channel.
No shit.
Yeah, and also in only 431 videos. So that's good. Your view to video ratio. So a lot of people know who you are. And you're a great guitar player.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. What guitar are you holding, by the way?
This is one of my Sully Alitas that I've modded the hell out of. So Sully is Sully John Sullivan out in Texas. This is his import line, made in Korea. I've put on a lot of FU-tone hardware and some Fishman pickups. I am a tweaker, endless tweaker when it comes to my guitars. So pretty much I don't have anything that's stock. You know, which is why I appreciate what you do, Rob. You know, especially those first line of guitars. You know, everything was meant to be modded. You know, I love your ethos of getting the viewers and the customers involved in developing it, right? Because now you're developing with them.
I don't think people should be told what to play and what, you know. I don't like that. I'm with you. I like to, you know, look, at the very least, I'm changing the string gauge, filing the nut. dropping right down any pickup that's in the way of my hybrid picking.
Yep.
I'm never going to leave the pickups as stock. I can't help it. I have a particular sound in my head that I want to reach.
Yeah.
And from there, that's the bedrock beginning of where it all starts. I know it's the same for you.
Yeah. You know, these guitars, whether it's this or one of Rob's or any other brand, whether you like to play the big brands or not, what's so awesome about guitars is it's just a bunch of components put together, and you can switch these out and have them gravitate more towards your personality. You can, you know, there was a knob here for a volume pot. I put in a kill switch. You know, there's all these little things you can do to just have it be your own. And I was doing this before I knew who Eddie Van Halen was. For me, my first real guitar was a US Fender Strat, and I got it because of Billy Joel from Green Day during the Dookie days. That's the first time I really got into guitar, and he had this fucking ugly beat to shit Fernandez Strat. I didn't know it was a Fernandez Strat at the time, but I just knew it was blue. It looked like that. I saw something similar at Guitar Center. I picked it up. The first thing I did was change out the pickups because it had single coils, and then you go buy the pickup, and then I realized, oh, I need a new pick guard, and it just opened up the floodgates to so much fun. And to this day, setting up guitars is something I set time aside for.
Yeah, I can see now that
so much.
The same way that you are with food, you are with guitars. You know, it's the recipe has to be yours. You need to leave your mark on it, and it's the combinations that make the biggest difference.
Yeah,
you know, because I mean, you know, even if it's something as simple as a sandwich, are you going to toast it? You're not going to toast it. Is it going to be roasted maple? Is it going to be plain maple? You know, are you going to add cheese last minute? You know, whatever the changes are, it's something in it that comes from you that makes it uniquely your guitar.
I love that analogy you just made, because on my menu, I have something like 30 different sandwiches, and the cheese placement is different on several of them. When to toast it, how much to toast it. It's so nuts. And, you know, sometimes when I explain to my staff changes I want to make on the menu as far as picking up, you know, making the actual sandwich, we call that a pickup. Not one of these. You know, sometimes when I listen to myself speak, I think to myself, do my guys think I'm fucking crazy? Because I get so into it. I'm like, make sure you put this cheese under the cutlet because this gets cooked twice in the oven. And then on the second time we put the other cheese, the heat will have enough time to penetrate on the inside. You know, all this detail, but it matters. It matters. It all matters.
Brian, what have I got to do to have a sandwich recipe in your shop, man? What's the secret? You gotta, you know, I'll give you the best Rob Chapman sandwich recipe. Send it over. We'll do a special promo. I'll eat 10 of them.
I think you need to come to New York and make it with me. That's what I mean.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, don't idly leave these idle threats out here, because I will get on a plane. Actually, may have some business in America coming up soon, so that could be an interesting.
All right, so let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Have you ever done a crossover with Chinese food and sandwiches?
Yes, and that sandwich has yet to come out. So it's funny you bring this up. I started this new series called Sandwich Smackdown. And basically the way it started with Guga. And his episode, we didn't do a signature sandwich for him. We did one with Justin Wang. He's another fellow YouTuber as well. But for episode 3, I have a YouTuber, a very cool guy by the name of Dr. Bernard, who's coming. His channel is called Chubby Emu. He's coming into town, and I made him a signature sandwich. And do you remember a while back? Shit, now I feel bad. I don't know if I asked you to do this, but I had a show called Sandwich Sunday, and I sent a questionnaire, and you would fill it out. And
I'm pretty sure
you did that, right? Yeah, you did it. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we would so I sent that questionnaire to Bernard, and I made him a signature sandwich because one of his favorite dishes is beef noodle soup. So I'm not going to give it away, but yes, it is a very much a Chinese themed sandwich, and I'm very excited for it.
I would love to do something like a char siu roast pork with the stuffing, the pork inside the bun.
Yes.
That as a jam on top of some char siu. We'll talk about it. I got
Dude,
an idea.
So it's funny you should bring that up. I can't give it away. The video.
No, don't give away anything special.
Okay, all right. But let me just put it this way. I just very recently ate one of those, and I will take you to the best spot in New York.
But
I recently took a friend, a very big food YouTuber who may be of the bald persuasion, like Roland.
Oh, really?
I gave him a. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
That's interesting. It's not going to be gluten free though. That's my problem.
Oh no, it's not. No, but we can go to a place where you can get just the pork.
That would be just amazing. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So look, tell me about your band. I know like your top 2 most played singles because I went and checked it out ages ago and played. There was one that was 3 letters and I can't remember what they stood for.
Oh, LOF, lube oil filter.
But what I loved about it was that it hit that old school thing in me. It was unashamedly from that world of the age. I mean, I'm a bit older than you, but we come from a certain kind of rock and metal that was created, and you're still echoing that, and I love that about you.
Yeah, we definitely ring of some old school like metalcore, hardcore vibe. Not old school hardcore. But we're very much inspired by stuff like that.
There's a bit of Biscuit in there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm hugely inspired by new metal. Yeah. So as far as Lost Becomes goes, I'm the guitar player, founding member. Lost Becomes was started as a band where I just wanted to play really simple, ignorant caveman riffs that was easy to play live, that I can rock out to and have a lot of fun. Just loud amps to the face. And that's really all it was. It was that simple. And I think I very much wear my influences on my sleeve. A lot of people can very accurately pick out my influences. There's a lot of Hatebreed in there. There's a lot of Every Time I Die, Dillinger Escape Plan. There's a lot of Kill Switch in there.
There's also almost a little bit of Pumpkins and a bit of Wes Borland and James Hetfield. There's the classics that were just around when we grew up through that time. In it.
And another really important thing for me when I wrote all of this stuff is that it had to be easy to play. I read a Guitar World interview a long time ago. I mean, talking 20 years ago, maybe even more, of Rivers Cuomo from Weezer. And this is when the Green album came out, and when they became bigger than ever at that time, but they also had a lot of backlash from their original fans. And all the music was this very simple poppy stuff. And I remember reading in the interview, he had this like EVH replica striped guitar before the EVH brand was around. He had this battle vest with all these fucking patches, and he was talking about how he can play Yngwie stuff. He can play all this like crazy shredder stuff, but he actively chooses not to because he wants everything he does live to be super simple. And
I wish I had taken
blew my mind.
Note of that, because that's not the world I'm in, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
I find it hard to remember the shit that I write, and then I have to practice it until I am not just bored emotionally, but bored physically. It needs to become spinal knowledge,
right?
Especially because I have to sing as well. I have to forget that I'm playing, and whenever I go through a process of trying to simplify the playing and keep it in a fucking regular time signature, my brain just goes, oh, but here's a thing in 6/3 and you can do this stuff, and then here's a inversion that looks cool, and then you can sweep that bit and then pick that, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And then the guys learn it because they're all really good, and then I'm like, oh, I've got to sing over it. So I could really learn from simplifying stuff too.
Not
easy though.
And also a big part of our sound is due to our bass player, Will Gomez, incredible bass player, but he would always say during writing sessions, like, he's the most proud Puerto Rican man you'll ever meet. I just want to put it out there. He is Puerto Rican, and he wants you to know he's Puerto Rican. One of my closest friends on the planet Earth, but he also has zero filter between his brain and his mouth. And he will tell me when he's like, he will straight up just tell me, man, that sucks. Like, make it more ignorant, or, write something that you can latch onto. That's what he keeps saying. Write something you can latch onto. And for me, that was not to say, we're playing stadiums or anything, but certainly everything we write is meant to be very easily, you can understand it, you can bop your head, and you have fun with it right away.
Actually, I understand what he is trying to articulate through something you can latch onto, because if it doesn't have an inherent hook, if it's not going to piss you off at 3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep because it won't stop playing in your head, it's probably not right.
Yeah.
But I think my experience of writing music is very different, because when my band write together, we tend to get the whole thing in one go, and then we're blessed, and that's it. That's how it was supposed to be. But I know what he means. If it's not really hooking you in, if you don't go, oh, and you get out that face, like, then it's not enough. It's like if you're making a sauce to go on some duck, it better be a bloody good sauce.
I'm very glad you brought that up. A great analogy that I use all the time, because I've done a couple of competition shows and I've learned a lot from that. And I've also I literally worked for a Chopped judge. Okay. My boss was one of the main judges on Chopped. He's fucking brutal when he judges your food. And you know what I always found is, when you stick with something classic and give it just that minor tweak, doesn't even need to be a big twist, doesn't need to be a big tweak, but you give them something to latch onto, something that they can understand, and then you give them that little twist, whether it's like, I don't know, I'm pulling this example out of my ass, but you're making a pasta bolognese, right? And then you go a little spicier, or it's a pasta bolognese and you did a house-made pickle with I don't know, fucking Sichuan peppercorn.
I'm not kidding. This is literally what I just cooked.
Nice.
I just cooked a bolognese. I used guanciale.
Yeah.
Cooked it down. Lamb mince. Pulpa. What do you call it in American? Pulpa. Tomatoes. Crushed tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
And conserva, which is sun-dried tomato paste. And then I added a couple of really hot green chilies, but I took the seeds out, chopped them up fine, fried them off, and then put the sauce in. So it was a spicy bolognese. Beautiful. With a lot of black pepper, and it was,
it's probably bomb. It was probably awesome, right? Like, but when you need to sell a dish to somebody, right, all you have to, it becomes much easier for them to understand that this is my version of a bolognese. Okay, bolognese, they got it right away, but there's a spice kick to it.
They need the familiarity, and it's exactly the same with a riff. So that's why I tend to subconsciously start with the pentatonic framework, but then I'll just lead them out at the end of the cycle by, I do two things. Sorry, I'm digressing, but I think this is interesting. I start with the pentatonic framework, imagine the 5 notes, and then it's a cycle, the riff is a cycle. Towards the end of that cycle, I'll introduce something innocuous like a 2, maybe it's, something that's just not speaking of the major or minor tonality. I hold that back as long as I can, and then I let the bassist speak the major or minor tonality at the end of the riff cycle. So that it's just, fourths, fifths, seconds, it's just basic stuff. It's not giving a lot of rules. But then the bass player comes in with the third, and it's like, shit. And then there's the emotional content. Then you can put the 6 in, then you can put the, put the 7 in, or what, and then suddenly you've got the listener feels more emotion at that point. They weren't quite sure where it was going to be, and then bang, you got them. And it's
Love
the same
that.
with that food. It's like a cottage pie with the slices of lettuce, potato, it's beef mince, it's the gravy, but it maybe you put some pears on top,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different. You got to lull them in with a false sense of security.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it, right? I mean, I recently watched this video on YouTube about why there's basically two types of restaurants you can open, and this rings true with any category of restaurant, whether it's fast food or fine dining. But if you want to be a trailblazer, you have the potential to start a revolution, right? But you also have the potential to crash and burn because no one understands what you're trying to convey. Or you can do something classic. You can open up a burger restaurant, but there's a huge expectation as to what a burger is. And subjective. So you can also crash and burn. For me, it boils down to those two things. And sometimes you have a dish or a song that veers more one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I approach it.
I watched a video of a really interesting marketeer who you probably watch this kind of stuff because you're very entrepreneurial, and I'm slightly tainted that way too, unfortunately. But this guy was talking about removing things to make a statement as well. And he said, for example, there's definitely a niche in the market in England for a bacon sandwich chain. They only make bacon sandwiches, but it's either no sauce or brown sauce. There's no ketchup. That's the statement.
Mm-hmm.
And that it would be the busiest sandwich shop in London, guaranteed.
I think I know who you're talking about. What's the name, dude? Is he a heavier set dude?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. What's his name? I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's the same guy that talks about the fact that purple's not actually a color. It's your brain trying to find an answer for a lack of a particular hue. Yeah, very fascinating guy.
That's why I don't like my purple shirts.
Yeah, purple doesn't exist. It's not a color. It's what your brain creates when there's an absence of a particular kind of hue.
Because I did buy a purple shirt, I never wear it. Like it seemed like a good thing, a good idea at the time, and it just hangs there. And it was an expensive shirt. I don't know why I bought it. Completely off topic, but
I've got to ask, what's that black fender behind you with the white pickups?
Oh, this?
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, that's a special one, actually.
I could sense its specialness. I'm sorry, I'm making you rearrange things.
No, not at all.
But it looks a little bit interesting.
Yes, this is actually a very.
Oh, I meant the one behind that.
Oh.
But tell me about that anyway. Tell me about that anyway.
Well, let's go. We'll do that next. This one?
No, the one behind. It looks black on the video. It's not black though, is it?
This one?
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, okay. Yes, this is actually very, 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 very,
it's
very.
Not even slightly black.
Yeah. So this is, it's a Strat, right? This is a Warmoth neck. It's branded with FU-tone. Shout out Adam Reaver.
You love Futone, don't you, man?
I love Futone.
We talked about Futone in the last podcast as well. There's something going down about this.
Yeah, I am. He is a very good friend of mine, but again, the tweaker in me, that website is just is crack cocaine for me.
Oh yeah,
it's perfect for a guy like myself. So this is a Warmoth neck, Fender USA Strat body with the original tremolo, and this guitar has been tweaked so many times. It's had so many pickups in it. I've landed on a set of PAF DiMarzio PAF Pros, but this was my main guitar for everything I did, and I will never get rid of it. There's only one more mod I want to do, which I never got around to because I'm a little afraid, is shave the neck heel for more of that like ultra kind of neck heel. But I'm also.
I thought you were going to say scallop it. That would be really fucking.
Oh no! I actually do. No, I don't have that anymore. I had a scallop neck guitar. But yeah, no, it's just it's a Strat, a Warmoth Strat. It has a thinner nut, the 5/8. I usually do 11/16, But man, I just fucking love this thing. And it's one of my few passive guitars that I have now. But three-way, mini toggle to split the coils, kill switch. I don't even remember what that does anymore.
And what are you running into when you play live? Are you still playing an amplifier, or have you got
No, I've never been an amplifier guy. So when I first started playing guitar when I was I'm 40 now. I started playing guitar at 13 is when I went to school in mainland China. And I just never I always had like the Gorilla amps or the Pig Noses or those PV Bandits and stuff like that. But I've never owned, I mean, that's not true. I have, but I've always been into modelers. It was so convenient, living in a tiny apartment in Beijing, China. I didn't even have a pod. I was using a Behringer V amp. So the concept of using a modeler was always my go-to. It was so much more convenient. I was always used to playing with headphones on. So right now I play with a Fractal FM3, and I've been a Fractal guy for like the last 10 years. It's the most unintuitive user interface, and I can't stand it. But once you lock in your tone, it's locked in, and I haven't touched my settings in forever.
This is what I hear from everyone that talks about the Fractal stuff. They say it's the best sound, but you just got to dedicate 2 weeks solid coffee time to learning how to use it. It's a lot. But what do you think about this new Helix Stadium thing that's coming out?
It looks cool. I mean, I used the Helix before I really got into Fractal. I absolutely love the user interface. I heard someone's Fractal, and I was like, "Oh, that tone's sick!" And I got a Fractal. No, it was actually a friend of mine who lives around here. I went to his house. He's like a studio musician type of dude. Aman, shout out to you. And I just heard his tones and was blown away. I got a Fractal, and I'm like, oh, my tones are shit. They sound nothing like that. But it took me a few years to really figure it out. But at that time, I wasn't in a band when I first got the Fractal, so it's not like I needed the tone, so to speak. I just figured it out over time. But yeah, I love. I think the Helix Stadium's cool. I mean, definitely pricey, right? So I'm curious how that's going to work out. I know the prices of everything have increased, so kind of a big surprise there. But I'm not personally going to pick one up, but it definitely looks cool. Definitely looks like an upgrade. I don't know. What do you think? What's your take on it?
Well, I actually shot a video today talking sort of more about this subject, because for me, modelers, digital floor preamps, for me, it's relatively new. That sounds crazy because obviously I've demonstrated I don't know. I've made 2,500 videos. I've shot over 500 hours of content, and that's just on my channel. So
that's yes. Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
It's a lot. Sometimes it's gonna sound weird, but I get really bored of seeing my face when I'm searching for a product, and then it's me, and I'm like, no, not that guy. Jesus, find someone else, please. But I grew up with head and cab. If you didn't have a 4x12 and a 100-watt head, get out of the pub. You weren't playing that pub, because the PA, if you were lucky enough to have anything like one, was just for the vocalist. It wasn't for the guitar player. I mean, I was born in 75, so my early pub circuit days, I mean, I say pub, I mean, I've even played farms. I played trucks, with my first band, proper band, Hooker. I played in, farms and house parties, and then pub circuit. And in England, the pub circuit's big, it's really good. There are some great, I mean, they call them pubs, but they're not really, But back in the day, PA was shit, or it was just for the vocalist. So you had to have minimum 50 watts to cut. And you needed high-end frequencies to cut through the audience. So I grew up playing. My first ever amp was PV Delta Blues that I bought in Toronto. I
remember those.
Yeah, brilliant amp. Shipped it back, had it converted to UK juice, which it didn't like. It blew up a few times, And then I had a Boogie combo, Studio Point 2 that I used to try and crank it up and then put it through the PA, but they didn't like it. But no, it was always head and cab, orange, loads of orange amps. But then just recently, I found this thing called the Nuex Trident, and I really liked it, not because of the way it sounded, but because it was just laid out like a pedal board. That was, chorus or a delay or a reverb or a stomp, like a overdrive or whatever. And I was like, I immediately visually understand that. And as a person that has to sing and I don't want crap on the floor, it's easy. And then I spent time tweaking it and got it to sound good, like good enough for anything, And then I toured it. And then I toured it again around China, which was phenomenal. I ate so much food, Brian. That was awful. I lost weight and ate so much food, which was incredible.
Hell yeah.
And I thought, this is really practical. I mean, I could just put it in my gig bag, fucking fly with it, I'm not carrying a 412 and a head. And I'm like, maybe there's something in this, And then but the thing that really clinched it for me was, I think I have some pretty good ears. I've done a lot of.
You definitely have some pretty good ears. I love your blindfolded videos.
Thanks, man. But obviously, it's entirely subjective, But I think I have good listening. And I was editing a video of me playing in China. Have you ever been to Music China in Shanghai?
I have not. No.
Fuck, dude. Do you speak Mandarin?
Yeah. Not
okay.
well, but well enough. Well enough. I found my wife.
Right. So you've got to go. I mean, they speak Shanghai Hua, but people come from all over. It's unbelievable, and there's so much incredible Chinese shred talent out there, man. It's like the 80s in China right now. And I was editing a video clip of me playing on a stage. Nick Johnson just got off. I got on, and I started playing. And I'm editing, and I'm like, this fucking sounds unbelievable. And I couldn't believe it was this Trident, through the PA.
Yeah.
It was like a wall of 412s. Honestly, man, it was better than anything I'd ever heard. And it was this little Trident that's like a couple $100. And it really made me think twice about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm deep diving. I've tried the Universal Audio Lion. I've sort of, I've had a lot of this stuff sent for demos, and then I've plugged it in, and then not really wanted to invest the time like you did. And I've done the chatting with Dweezil, saying, "Hey man, I see that you get the Fractal to sound like anything you ever wanted to. Is that hard?" Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. It's endless tweaking. And, to add to what you're saying, there's also more information about how to achieve your desired sound than there was 10 years ago. So there's more resources. And I think thus it's going to be easier for you to hit that point. But like, for example, Rob, the way I use my fractal is not the typical way you use a fractal. I don't go direct. So
that does not surprise me, Brian.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because that's you. You're probably running 4-cable method into the back of an amp, slaving the power section.
So I go into a fractal, no IR, into a matrix power amp, solid state power amp, which is fun. That power amp is unbelievable. But anyway, I use the fractal as a preamp essentially, go into a power amp, no IR, and then that goes into a 4x12, and I always have the 4x12 mic'd up. And the only reason why I do that is just to make my life easier when we play gigs and when we do runs, so that the sound guy doesn't have to move mics around or anything, or we don't have to move shit around on stage. I just deal with whatever's there. And for whatever reason, I haven't had an issue with like, oh, this is a Marshall cab this one day, it's a shitty like Behringer cab another day. It's been good enough. And the reason why is because I also have an extra out going into a personal 1x12 guitar cab. It's a Mojo Tone guitar cab, and it's my own personal monitor that I control. I control the volume. I don't have to rely on the sound guy. And because of that, I have a consistent sound that where I can hear myself. So, you know, the sound guy has his sound. I'm making his life easy. You know, he obviously he's tweaking the sound, and we're usually, you know, we're at a point, the band is at a point where we're not, you know, the first one going on, right? So by the time we go on, the sound guys pretty much figured it out. But I have a consistent sound because I always have my 1x12 guitar cab. So it's a guitar speaker, and I'm hearing myself consistently every night. So it is an extra thing to bring out, but that has been key for me. And as long as I can hear myself clearly, then I'll play the shit out of any stage.
It's really interesting how you sound to yourself will make you play in such a specific way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't sound good, the playing is very different.
Yep.
And I've always disliked that about demonstration work, because you don't have a choice in how you sound. And sometimes I try not to sound the same when I'm doing demo work, but I have a particular sound I want to hear that I'm fighting against to allow the product to speak its natural tone.
Yeah.
But it's a clever hack. And I love that you're thinking about the sound guy, because you're making his job so much easier.
100%. 100%. Right.
Yeah, you've learned how to be a good support guy. That's good.
Exactly. Because we need to be on and off stage in 5 minutes. Like, don't coil your fucking cables on stage, right? Like, just throw everything on your pedal board and get off. Right. But also it applies to the people that work at the venue. You know, we've been a band for like 3-4 years now. So we're at the point where we're revisiting some spots, and they'll remember us because they'll be like, oh yeah, like, your tone is sick and you made my life very fucking easy. So that's a big part of it, because when you're a musician, you're a part of a community, and you want to leave everyone with a good impression of you. So you may not have a big crowd the first or second time you play there, and it's not like Lost. I almost said Mission Sandwich. It's not like Lost Becomes is selling out venues or anything. But you know, we're very fortunate. The last few times we've been back to places, the attendance has been bigger and bigger, and I firmly do believe it's because when we go there, we're very polite. And we're also very easy to work with. We just try to, you know, be.
Well, I think you're slightly underselling the fact that you're a great band and you play good music. You know, let's not forget that. Right?
We're a good. Yes.
So you live in Brooklyn.
I live in Queens, which is the next borough over.
Okay. What's it? So I know you grew up a lot in China.
Yes.
But what's it like living in Queens, that area?
So I'm born and raised in New York. I was born in Queens, raised in Brooklyn. I've always been between Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan. You know, anybody who lives in New York is probably going to end up working in Manhattan. But I've always lived in Queens, and Brooklyn is typically where I've usually worked. But no, I went to school in Beijing, China for a few years because my dad just wanted to get me out of New York. He thought he just wanted me to see something else outside of Queens.
Good.
Which was great. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And also on top of that, I was kind of, you know, a piece of shit kid. So a naughty kid, but you know, that's besides the point. So went to Beijing, you know, for high school. And then I did a little bit of university there, not much, and decided to come back. That's a whole nother story. Won't get into today, but decided to come back and have just been working and living in New York ever since, and absolutely love it. But yeah, Queens is, I think factually is one of the most diverse places in all of the United States. You know, and it has all these pockets of different ethnic cultures. And Brooklyn is is Brooklyn as well. I mean, it's the world's famous Brooklyn, right? So that's
Did you have to fight against the pigeonholing of being Asian and a chef, where everyone just imagining that you would be cooking Asian food all the time?
Yeah, I've dealt with that my entire life, whether it was cooking or not, right? And there used to be a point in my life where that would make me angry. For a long time, it made me very angry, and then it just, I've always speaked with my actions, and like sometimes it'll people that you don't do Asian food. I mean, I literally not too long ago, actually, I was at some restaurant. Well, wonderful old couple was there, and we just struck up a conversation. And they said, "What do you do? What do you do, kid?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a chef." And what kind? Do you have a restaurant? Yeah, I have a restaurant. I was like, "What kind of restaurant?" I said, "I have a sandwich shop." And he just looked at me, literally was going, "Is it an Asian sandwich shop?" And I remember my buddy, who was a white gentleman, just all the blood left his face and felt terrible. And I was like, "No, sir, it's actually we have many different types of sandwiches, but we do have some Asian sandwiches." And you know what? I can't get upset at the guy for not knowing better. Like, he didn't mean anything by it. And yes, I've run into people many times in my life where they do mean something by it. But I've gotten to the point in my life, and I've gotten old enough where number one, like, if I do knock someone's teeth out, I got a kid to worry about, so it's not going to do anybody any good. But also, I'm just done with wasting energy on being upset.
Oh,
yeah. And I will, like, there are certain emotions you can't help yourself from feeling, and the only thing you can do at that point is control how you react to it. But I quickly move on, because I have so much better stuff going on than to be off and get into confrontation with people about it.
I can see this because you're an American,
mm-hmm.
but you're also Korean, Chinese, that there's, and I think, there's such a big cultural mix where you live, but still, I mean, from my experience of touring a lot of America, there's still kind of a sense of, if you look like something, that's what you are and where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, even I've fallen for it a few times, because, all of my Chinese friends are from China, speak Chinese, they're Chinese, they're not Americans.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, I went to San Francisco, and I'm the biggest fan of Big Trouble in Little China in the entire planet. It's the best movie ever made, bar none. And I saw
I've actually never seen it.
Right. Well, there was a lion dance troupe, and it's the first time I'd ever seen a lion dance troupe, and I was so fascinated. And so I asked them if they practiced Kung Fu, and they were like, yeah. And then I asked them if they spoke Chinese, and they said, no, we're Americans. And I was like, oh yeah. I've just fallen into the biggest, stupidest, dumbest caucasity trap ever,
and that's okay. Again, like the same again that example with that old couple I was telling about, they didn't mean anything about it. They didn't think about that in the moment. They may have realized it when my friend like sunk his head into his hands. So be it. But I think the worst thing I can do, and it doesn't always work out this way, okay, but like the worst thing I can do is start getting pissed off at them, and it doesn't help anything. And again,
of course,
I'm at that age where you know what, I'd rather just be the best version of myself possible at all possible times, whether I'm in a good or bad situation, because ultimately that will reflect on my culture. The way I look. So might as well put my best foot forward. Doesn't always work out that way, but
But this is something that I've always loved about the rock and metal community, is they don't give a fuck where you're from, what you look like. I mean, I went to see Devin Townsend. He came out on stage wearing a black ballet dress, and no one cares. It's such an inclusive, friendly, kind of welcoming. I mean, on the outside, people that don't know it probably would think, oh, it's dangerous, and they're all angry. But if someone falls down in a pit, they'll be the first people to pick you up, you know.
Yeah.
And no one is going to turn to someone from any other culture or race or gender and be like, get out of this. You know, if it's a metal venue, metal people tend to support and welcome and look after each other, is my experience anyway, you know.
For me as well, overall, I think because it's such a niche thing to begin with, you're so appreciative of meeting others who you share common ground with. Because it can be isolating when you like something that is niche, right? Everyone, I think, whether you admit it or not, are looking for a tribe, so to speak, right? Looking for a sense of community. I think that's the human part of us, is we all are looking for a sense of community. You know, whether you're introverted or extroverted or, you know, get anxiety around people's one thing, but ultimately I do think people do desire to find some sense of belonging with a community of people.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. Let me circle back around to India, because I just realized you have an on-air sign. You are so much more professional with your podcasting than I am. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
This is my my home office, and I just recently finished it up. So I do want to try to do some live streaming. It's the time, right? Making the time. But I'm sorry. So you're in India?
No, it's all right. So yeah. I want you to imagine this. I landed in India to visit a factory that makes Chapman guitars for us. Whenever we have a new factory, I always go there. I always inspect the factory, make sure it's all health and safety and nothing nasty under the floorboards or, you know, whatever might go on, because you never know. Mm-hmm. And so far, I have to say, there's never been a bad surprise. It's always been good. Ultimately, these people want to make money, and anything that would reflect badly is off. And that's why I've always shot documentaries of every single factory that we ever moved to.
I love those videos, by the way.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really enjoy them too. And they're so just, you know, throw like, quick, film this, and he's done the sanding, and then there's, you know, the flickering overhead lights, and deal with it. And, you know, it's hard work, but they're fun because I get so excited about guitars being made. Anyway, I landed in India, and I got a text from my dad saying, "Oh, you're in this particular part of India. That's where your maternal grandmother was from." And I was like, what are we talking about? And he said, "Yeah, I mean, that's where she came from." And I quite honestly, I thought he was sort of kidding, you know. I mean, I knew that my mum had a lot of furniture from India. She talked about India being involved in the family somewhere, and I you know, I just kind of, I don't know why, it was almost sort of background noise in my family. And he said, "Yeah, she was from Tamil Nadu. That's where you've just landed." And anyway, that was it.
Oh, is that in the south of India?
Right in the bottom. Yeah.
I only know that because of Village Cooking Channel.
Right. Well, that's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, Rob. One of my staff is calling me at the sandwich shop. I'll do the call on air right now. I don't mind.
Do it.
Make sure everything's okay. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Did you see my text?
No, I did not. What's going on?
I saw your message. The dude is here.
Yeah.
I know that he gets comped. All of his friends get comped as well. We weren't sure.
Well, how many of them are there? When you say a lot, it's like 4 or 5 people.
Yes.
All right. It's all right. Hook them up.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Is it? Why? Did they order like 5 sandwiches each?
No, it was 1 sandwich each.
Oh, then it's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll let them know.
Okay, that's it. Talk to you later.
All right, see you, bro.
All right, bye. I'm sorry. I got to place my bread order too. Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, Brian. We'll be done soon.
Yeah. What's up, Wojtek?
How many?
For tomorrow, I'm sorry. Let me check the weather. Let's do 84.
84.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. All right. Bye. That's actually for the weekends. We do almost triple that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I won't keep you much longer, I promise. But that was a really interesting insight into a micromanaged. Yeah, give them free sandwiches. Give me 84 bits of bread or whatever. So anyway, I land in India. My maternal grandmother's from this area. I go to the factory, meet people, have incredible food, touch incredible guitars. And then I got a photograph. And it was a photograph of my great grandmother on the knee of her father in India. And then I got another photograph of the back of that photograph, and it said Margaret Kirkland Leaf Hume, which was my great grandmother, on the knee of her father in Tamil Nadu at a coffee estate. And I thought, what's going on? And it turned out
at the guitar factory you saw these photos.
This was sent to me by text by my father.
Oh, okay.
And then my mother. Yeah.
Okay.
It turned out that my family, during the days of the Raj, when India was owned by England, had gone over and took over and managed a coffee plantation in Tamil Nadu. And they'd been there for generations. And so I have a long history of India, in particular the region where currently we make guitars, in my family. And I had no idea until I landed there that we'd been there for generations making coffee. And the coffee plantation still exists.
Wow.
My family sold it to an American company who own it. I phoned them and they knew of my family, and they still make coffee to this day. And it's quite high regard. That area is renowned for making coffee.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. And the fact that you're making guitars out of there now, like, what a full circle moment.
Yeah, well, what the full circle started months and months before that, when in a DNA test, it turned out that I had some Indian DNA. So, yeah, and I thought, well, that's bullshit. So I extracted the data, put it in from .co.uk ancestry into an American DNA, and it came back saying quite a lot more Indian DNA, and I'm like,
wow.
That doesn't make any sense. And then when I landed there and got the text, I'm like, wait a minute, someone did something in India over these generations, and that all makes sense.
Yeah.
And that was my moment of, well, look, I may be blessed with caucasity, but there's something in me that likes the spicy, that wants that difference in textures. I want a variety of colors. I need that hit of something that rejuvenates my spirit and my soul, and it's also in my music. It can't just be major or minor, and it can't just be pentatonic. It needs colors and dimensions and depth.
Yeah,
and I'm putting that down to my Indian ancestry. Apparently, there you go. That's the end of that.
I especially hear it in your writing in Dorje. You know, I heard a lot of that.
Thanks, man.
Because it was very unique. I remember first hearing Dorje stuff. I was like, oh man, this is very different in an awesome way. I'm not saying it was very different in a terrible way. No, it was very cool. That was something I really liked about Dorje.
I appreciate that, and honestly, it comes from my love of Marty Friedman, and what he had done was incorporate Japanese music into Western pentatonic rock, and I loved the Indian ragas, Nepalese music. You know, just there's such a wide variety of music from that part of the planet, and I wanted to incorporate some of it modally but very subtly into pentatonic riffs. So that's what I did, and then found out years and years later that I have some Indian origins. Who the fuck knew that?
Yeah.
Not me.
Again, what a full circle moment.
Anyway, listen, man, it's been really nice to chat. Thank you.
Likewise. No, my pleasure, man. It was really good to reconnect with you like this. It's been long overdue.
Are you at NAMM?
No, I don't go to NAMM as often these days. Just
is that because it's in California?
I'm sorry?
Is that because it's in California?
No, it's really purely a scheduling thing. I also had another child as of a couple years ago, so that's another reason why I haven't gone the last couple of years.
Right.
So after COVID, the reason why I didn't, my last NAMM was 2020. I mean, this was right before everything went haywire, and then I didn't go for a couple of years after that because I just opened the restaurant.
Right.
It was always my intention to go back. and then I had the kid.
Yeah, I
been...
remember 2020 like it was yesterday. We had a conversation right on the roof, looking over the whole of Anaheim. It was a really deep intellectual conversation, but very quick because neither of us had a lot of time. But well, look, so I am coming back to America for I can't really talk about it, but a lot of different things, and I'd love to come and say hi and talk about a sandwich or something fun like that.
Yeah, let's hang. Absolutely. If you come to New York, man, we'll make some content. We will hang. It is long overdue. And I just want to add one more thing before we sign off for anyone who's still watching. Hopefully Rob and I didn't put you to sleep, but I want to mention that Rob and I met through NAMM, but I also met my business investor through NAMM, through that whole circle of musicians. And it had nothing to do with me being a chef. It was just my pure love of guitars and everything guitars that brought me to this wonderful community, gave me friends, awesome friends like Rob. And then through that, you know, not Rob directly, but through someone I met at NAMM, introduced me to my current business investor that gave me the life that I have today. And I just want to say, you just never know, man. You just never know. So always leave yourself open to opportunity. If you have an opportunity to go network, go for it. You know, yeah, sure, there's going to be circumstances that, you know, you can't possibly go to everything, but I am telling you, you just never know. And Rob's story of being connected to India, now making guitars out of there, that's a perfect example right there too.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. That's what it is. Yeah. All right, man. Have a great day. See you later.
Take care, buddy.